Wait for it. Wait for it. And we're live. Hey, oh, you crazy sci-fi and fantasy fans. It's time for your daily dose of shenanigans over here at the Blasters and Blades podcast. Just a couple of nerdy veterans, a Stabby Chaos Coordinator, and one Chief Shenanigator over there making yarn things in the corner. We are a place where magic is king, the sky is the limit, and space is the place. We are the podcast that puts the fun in dysfunction. So without further ado, we're going to let our guests introduce themselves to our listeners and viewers at home. And we're going to start with the lovely Miss Julie Barnson.
Hi, I'm Julie Barnson, and I'm here. I'm so happy.
All right, she likes long walks on the pier where she shoves people off the end. Romantic dinners that end in stabbings. You know, the usual things.
Yeah, I'm a professional storyteller, and so I am a storyteller of the oral tradition, and I helped my husband write or put together an anthology over COVID one year, and that's what we're here to talk about. So
how did that, well, you know what, we'll come back to that.
Yeah.
Jay, do you want to introduce yourself to the listeners and viewers at home?
I am Jay Barnson. She's my better half. No, I'm a oh goodness, yeah, I'm a writer. I've been I'm a software engineer. I've done a stint in the video games industry. I have really like one of my early influence. Well, we could talk about that in a little bit, but anyway, I love scary stories, which is probably why we get along. One of the reasons we get along so well, and ghost stories and things that creep you out. Anyway, yes, I've got 9-10 books out and lots of short stories all over the place. And anyway, and yes, I am glad to be here.
Okay. So did you like the scary stories of Tell in the Dark as a kid, the Crypt Keepers, all that stuff? Goosebumps?
That was actually after my time.
We were adults then.
The ones for me was the Twilight Zone, which was actually before my time. But if I could stay up until 11 o'clock, I could watch the old black and white episodes of the Twilight Zone, and those blew my freaking mind. I was like, you can tell stories like this? This is so amazing. And I don't remember how old I was at that point, like, 10, 11. But, oh my gosh, that was the thing. And some of them were creepy. Some of them were funny. A lot of them were thought-provoking. And those were the ones that probably were my big influence. And then a friend of mine introduced me to H.P. Lovecraft, but that's another story.
Mine was the ghost story books that were before Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. I read every single ghost story book at the school when I was in second grade. And then I proceeded to tell everybody all of those stories. And I scared my little sister so bad that my mother told me I couldn't bring another ghost story book home. But I had read them all, so I couldn't do that anyway. So I was really excited when Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark came out.
Yeah, and I think I was in the same boat with you. I was reading some of the scary stories that, or the books that were probably not appropriate at the age that I read them. They, all the vampire stories and things like that, and but still, that was a huge one too. There wasn't, back in those days, science fiction, fantasy, horror were all kind of jumbled together on the same shelves at the bookstore and sometimes the library, and so it was, you just kind of start and keep going.
You may have read the same ones I did. They had this series of books that was like some things dark and dangerous, some things strange and sinister, some things, and there was like a whole series of them. I have one upstairs in the storytelling room.
I was reading stuff like The Keep when I was in like 5th grade or something like that. Which was turned into a movie eventually, and that was another vampire movie.
As one does.
So when it comes to scary, do you have like a favorite like creature feature type scary monster? Is it vampires for you? Is it something else?
For a long time, for me, it was vampires, but these days, I'm leaning more toward ghosts. I like my ghosties.
Yeah, it was funny when Julie and I, we have this tradition that we've been doing, and this is, this Halloween. We're telling it for Christmas, mixing the two up. It's what we do.
It's all part of the season.
But anyway, of watching, the horror movies around Halloween time, and a lot of them are terrible. But we found ourselves, we both kind of like the same style. We like the stuff, the creepy stuff, the stuff that makes your chills your spine, as opposed to the gore fest, body horror, stuff like that. And so really, you get into like the supernatural thriller type stuff is really, I think both of us kind of lean towards that. Although give us a good zombie movie or something like that, and it's a lot of fun too. Anyway, I think that's kind of the area that I always like, because for me, it always, there's, of course you could get with the more, realistic horror, without any supernatural elements, but that was always the thing that kind of creeped me out as a kid, and still does, is the, something that's not quite explainable. Not quite, but you can't perceive it, name it, put it into a box, and you're not sure exactly what it is. Those sorts of things, which is where you get a lot of the ghost stories and stuff like that. What is it really? What can it do? With the hauntings and curses and terrible things, and all the stories are different, and that's the thing that really kind of thrills me and keeps me watching, if it's done well, which.
So did you ever watch I think it was Alfred Hitchcock that did the movie Birds?
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
That still holds up. It's a freakishly scary one, and it's because it was all like acting. It wasn't all green screen with special effects. And I've had this conversation with I can't remember, it's either Bill Fawcett or Chuck Gannon, when I was saying I thought acting has gotten worse because they rely on the green screen. He said maybe acting hasn't gotten worse, but there's just so much more going on. You don't notice the good acting as much anymore, which is possible. Yeah. But because they didn't have all that extra stuff, the acting sort of stood out to the point where, like, when that one woman is driving the car and she sees, like, when she freaks out, you believe it.
My mother is terrified of birds because of that movie, and so
she's not wrong.
Stories of her anytime a bird is coming near her.
Well, one of Julie's favorite movies is The Haunting, based on The Haunting of Hill House.
But not the Steven Spielberg version, the 1960s version, the black and white.
Black and white, where
Simple
it was
as anything.
Where it was all acting, and you're not really sure at the end of the show if anything had happened, if there's anything supernatural going on, or if it was all in their minds. And so that's when you get back there. One of the first ones for Julie and me, when we were kind of searching out, it's like, hey, where are all the good scary movies? We found one in 1980, I think it was, The Changeling. And that was, again, not a whole lot of special effects, not a huge budget other than the actors. And it had
George C. Scott.
George C. Scott in that one. And it was actually really, really good. We really enjoyed it. And it was nice, and it was creepy, and it had delivered on all those fronts.
Okay. Well, before we got too deep into this, we do have the religion question. So, you guys ready for this?
Yes, we are.
All right. Since we are airing this right around the holiday season, the Blasters and Blades religion question today is going to be: do you guys have any favorite holiday Christmas traditions? And since you're married, I'm going to make it more difficult because she might steal yours first. But
on Christmas Eve, we have a sing-along where we sing Christmas carols, and my sister has a set of bells. So we will actually play the handbells at the different Christmas carols. And sometimes we perform, and sometimes we just do group singing, but we sing Christmas carols. That's one of my favorites.
One thing I know about singing is if you mouth the word watermelon, nobody can tell you're not singing. I learned that in choir as a
Good
kid.
to know. I
It
lead the
fools
school
you.
choir, and
So if you say
Don't
the
do
word
that.
watermelon, it looks like at a distance for lip readers, like you're singing along with everyone else. It fools the eye.
well, now I want to like it on screen here. Yeah, okay, I can see that.
There you go.
Yeah,
Um,
it's a funny word.
I will have that for the rest of my life now.
I learned that in the church choir when I was
I
like
don't have to
8 because
sing
I didn't want to
anymore.
sing. And I was only there because my mother made me. And so the choir director was like, well, at least just mouth watermelon, JR, so people think you're singing. I'm like, I can do that. And it just stuck with
Look
me.
the
It's a
part.
random bit of trivia. So what about you, Jay?
I'm glad she didn't take my other answer, which was we dance around the men here ring, and do animal sacrifice. We read scriptures. Actually, we do.
We do.
So Christmas Eve, but actually, it's always been for me. It's been the Christmas Eve, the get together with the family and everything. Ever since I was a kid, it's like almost an afterthought for Christmas Day, which is probably not great, but that's the way it was. Christmas Day for me growing up was always, or was often driving several hours to go visit relatives. And as a kid, it's like I got a bunch of new toys, and instead I'm stuck in a car going to my uncle's house. So Christmas Eve was always the special part for me. But yeah.
All right. What about you, Jana? Or Jenna Ray, whichever you prefer to answer as.
Oh, Jenna Ray's busy. Her traditions would be really bizarre. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. No, I do two big things during the holidays that are a little bit different. I make more candy than I should admit to. We embrace the sugar rush in a huge way, like 55 pounds of fudge kind of huge way, which for a non candy shop is a lot of fudge. And then I send out Christmas cards. I still send out old style Christmas cards, and I send recipes out with them. And the sneak peek is that this year's recipe is the pecan bar recipe that I make for my father-in-law every time we go to visit, because it's his very, very favorite. And
Although
it was a toss up because it was going to be pumpkin cake, but we're doing pecan bars. What was that?
I think I already have that recipe.
Oh, you might do. It's in one of the books, but
You can still send it to me. It's okay.
but I'm going to send it anyway. So yeah, I don't ask people whether they have it or not anymore, because one year that turned into a 3-way competition between which recipe I should send out. And because I'm dumb, I sent out all 3, and that actually takes the cost of the card and moves it into the next thing where you have to add an extra 3-cent stamp to it, which gets really expensive when you send out 200 plus cards. So I don't do that no more. You get one recipe, and if you want something different, you got to wait till next year.
What you could do is just send a QR code that they scan, and then it's got the selection, multiple choice recipe.
No. The whole point is that you get a physical recipe card that comes to your house, and you get to open something in the mail that is not a bill. Because people keep saying, well, why don't you just move it electronic? It's like, because you're missing the point. The point is for you to open the Christmas card and get something that isn't a bill that you would want to keep.
And in the post-apocalyptic Christmas, the QR codes are not going to work. So you need to have that physical recipe there, so you can go out and you can.
Well, that's why they
kill
print
the
it,
monsters
and she doesn't have to mail it to them. She gives them the QR code. They print it before the apocalypse, and then they're good to go.
No, that's why it's a tradition, because it's got all the parts to it. And my daughter helps me with the labeling. Her job is she got into stickers that she seals stuff with many moons ago, and so I write out the cards and she decorates them with little dots on this, that, and the other, and then she flips them over and everything gets a sticker on the back. And so the whole point of the tradition is the whole, we talk about what recipe we're going to do and which Christmas cards we're going to use, because we change those up every year based on what was cheap the previous year. Because I go through the sales and I pick up Christmas cards and say, these are now next year's Christmas cards. Because this is how you keep the cost down when you do this. And then she and I have this whole process for doing it together. So that's the tradition, is that it works together. And that I have so many relatives, that I have a relative that I missed her 2 years in a row because she kept moving. And she called me out of the blue and she went, I need your Christmas cards. I was like, didn't you get them? No, we moved. So now every year in about October, she contacts me and she goes, do you have my current address? And so I read her off what I have and we verify that it's correct, because that's one of the things that marks Christmas for them, is that my tradition starts their traditions. And I think that's the best kind of tradition.
That is cool. So the problem is, Jay, when you talk about post-apocalyptic, modern paper is really thin and it doesn't last very long. And so in an apocalypse, most stuff you're printing off of a printer anyway is going to just fade. It won't last a year. I worked in document preservations when I was a grad student in history department. And so I can tell you most of that stuff won't last. The paper stock is really thin, even if you get the good stuff these days in comparison to what our ancestors used. So you would actually have to take special care to preserve the recipe cards if you really wanted it to be apocalypse proof. So just giving them the chance to print it on their own is just as good, but it's not tradition for us.
These are photo quality. So I get them specially printed and get them sealed and everything so they can be used in the kitchen. You can wipe them off, all of that kind of thing. If I'm going to send you a recipe card, I send you a really good one.
Also, Utah was a big hub for the scrapbook frenzy of the 90s. And so acid-free, archival cardstock, we all have a stockpile of it.
And the other part of that is when it comes to preserving documents and such, the photographs went to the art history, not the history. So I didn't touch any of that. So I don't know anything about what would make that. And they don't tend to want the colorblind guy messing with their art stuff.
Strange how that works. Well, I will tell you that they do keep for years, because I have my very first ones and I've been doing this for at least a couple of decades. And I still have old cards that I sent out to everybody, and I have my copies and they have not degraded at all. So,
well, that is
just
cool.
gotta know what you're doing, man.
There you go. So for me, we don't really have any like specific traditions per se. We do the breakfast casserole in the morning. And then when the food coma hits, we just sort of veg around and watch, movies. We're not really a sports family. I played, but playing a game and watching other people play a game aren't the same thing. And I never really got into the spectator side of it. And when you have concussions, they don't really want you to play contact sports anymore. So after the 33rd concussion, they're like, JR, you're not going back to rugby now that you're a civilian again. So that was that. The doctors have spoken.
So your favorite Christmas movie or movie to watch on Christmas Day?
It rotates. We don't always watch Christmas movies. In the past, we've watched last year we watched Indianapolis, which was the story of the World War II battleship that was sunk right as the war was ending. They ended up court-martialing the captain because he didn't zigzag, because nobody told him that there were Japanese subs out. And then in the court-martial, they ended up bringing the Japanese sub commander, and he's like, yeah, we were close enough. He could have zigzagged all he wanted to. He still was going to, that ship was still dead. There's nothing he could have done. They ended up exonerating him years later, but the guy died in disgrace as far as the official record was, and he was dead when they finally fixed the record. Oh, we lost Jana. No. Yeah, so we watch a lot of military movies, historically based ones. I like a lot of dinosaur movies, so we watched Jurassic Park a few times. There's a new movie out with dinosaurs I haven't seen that I've seen the commercials for. I want to say it was Primal or something.
I think I saw that one.
Yeah,
I didn't watch the movie, but the previews for it.
I saw the previews for it. It looked like Jurassic Park meets Predator, and so it looked interesting. I haven't watched it yet, but we like action movies in our house.
Well, the one I almost watched for Halloween, I think it's been out a few years, but Julie refused to let me. It was called Velocipaster. Have you seen that one?
I have heard of it, but I have not seen it. Is it good?
I have no idea. Julie won't let me watch it.
I am a sucker for cheesy B movies. The cheesier, the better. Like Nazi werewolves from Mars. Let's do this.
No, our whole scary movie tradition started because we were in Hollywood Video looking for a good scary movie, and the best ones we could find were things like Vampire Sorority Babes. So anything close to that, we're no.
So you'll get a kick out of this then. I was going to a place that was carding for, because it was an alcohol tasting place, and so I'm going through my wallet to pull out my ID card, and as I'm going through, I'm like, crap, I haven't cleaned my wallet in a while, so I'm pulling the stuff out they're going to throw away, and I found my Blockbuster card, and when he saw the Blockbuster card, he's like, I don't even need to see ID.
Yeah, you're definitely old enough.
You're definitely old enough. Go on. Oh, like, I don't know how to feel about that, but okay.
I
A little
know.
sad.
There's
Yeah.
apparently one left, but it's like a bed and breakfast now that's just themed with the movie themes.
I understand
Wow.
they do maintain a like a social media presence and everything. It's like the last blockbuster, last man standing.
That is interesting. I will have to check for them. I haven't seen in a while. And apparently Jana's computer crashed, so she might be might not make it back.
Oh no.
The puppy. Okay. And so now that we've talked about traditions, what is your favorite holiday side dish? Because obviously everyone does the ham and the turkey, but do you have a favorite side to go with the meal?
It's actually not ham and turkey if the budget allows. I actually try really hard to separate all the holiday dishes. So we have ham at Easter, we have turkey at Thanksgiving, and if we can afford it, try and go for the prime rib. Kind of depends upon the year, but my favorite holiday side dish is funeral potatoes, which here is hash browns with cream of chicken soup type sauce and sour cream or cream cheese and cheddar cheese, basically potatoes and cheese and baked with crunchy things on top.
And it's so named because it's served at, any sort of, funeral.
Yeah, it's a regular funeral dish.
Yeah. So after the funeral, they have the, a little meal for the family or whatever. They always bring those potatoes.
I'm starting to wonder if Utah has like an Irish presence. Here, someone's died. You're sad. Here's potatoes.
Yeah, that's, it goes with it, but it's easy and everybody makes it. So
I've never heard of it, but interesting. Okay.
I'll send you the recipe. It'll show up in a Christmas card.
So we do Thanksgiving. Obviously, you do the turkey, but for Christmas we do ham or turkey, and then we do it again ham for Easter. Prime rib, huh? Okay. What about you, Jay?
For side dishes, I'm going to go a little out there. We have, like I said, we do the usually get together with family for Christmas Eve, and my sister-in-law, because one year when we first, I think it was even right before we got married or something like that, she did this thing with spinach dip and bread, and I really liked it. So she's made it every year, and I think for my
we won't
sake,
allow her to bring anything else.
I know, so I'm like always like that's we kind of graze for the Christmas Eve dinner, and that's definitely a favorite of mine. So
okay, Jana, do you have a favorite holiday side dish?
Pair of side dishes? Well, let's see. We usually make prime rib, and we serve that to our children, which makes them very, very happy. And so
is that just a Utah thing?
I don't think
it's
so.
a delicious thing.
It's becoming a trend.
Well, it's also because it's something that stores will often, that's when they save the standing rib roast and they put it on sale. So it's one of about 3 times a year that you can find those on decent prices for, most of us. And so that makes it a really good time to make it. I think people also wanted options for ham and turkey and goose, which a lot of people don't care for. So it gave you a beef option for people that wanted that. So it's not just a Utah thing, but it is a delicious thing.
I'm just saying, ham supremacy, ham uber alles. But ham at the end, when you got the leftovers, you can fry the ham up with potatoes, and it's my great grandmother's depression recipe.
It's a hash. It's delicious.
We go heavier on the ham than they would have back then, on account of we're not in the Great Depression yet, but it's still a delicious meal.
So you can. But yeah, so side dishes for that. We usually make so my favorite side dish and the favorite side dish for almost everyone in my family is we make rolls the size of your head. They're not quite that size, but they feel that way because you have to have something to make sandwiches with after you've gone through the first time. So we make great big homemade rolls, and we have jams and jellies and honey butter and all the things to put on it. So that'd be my favorite side dish is the bread side dish.
Okay, I mean you can't go wrong with bread. Okay, I guess for side dishes, I'm a sucker for deviled eggs.
Oh yeah, that's good.
Yummy.
You can't go wrong with those.
Definite approval.
There's the running joke about the deviled eggs are so called that because once you eat one, the devil will whisper in your ear, you can eat more. And before you knew it, you've blown up your stomach and you're half dead.
Well, it's like, if you just had hard-boiled eggs, you say, would you like to eat 4 eggs? What? Are you kidding? No, that's impossible. You do the devil. You say, next thing you know, you've eaten 8 deviled eggs, and you're like, oh, I'm going to regret this.
Absolutely. And if you want to weigh in the comments, dear listener, tell us what your favorite holiday tradition or your favorite holiday side dish is. We'd love to hear it. And finally, because we like to mix it up a little bit, what is your favorite holiday dessert, Julie?
Jana mentioned candy, and I was trying to figure out the years. It might be almost 30 years, Jana. Jana taught me how to make chocolate.
We should admit that is a lot of years.
Early in December, I make a lot of chocolates, and that's pretty much after I do that, any other dessert, it's like I've had so much chocolate by the end of the month and given it away and brought it to all the parties that's it, chocolates.
Okay. Jay?
I'm going to extend the definition of holidays to include Thanksgiving. And now Julie knows my answer.
Yes, I do.
Pecan pie.
Mm-hmm.
Don't usually have it for
my
Christmas.
goodness. Did we just become best friends?
Pecan pie?
Yeah,
Dude.
pecan pie.
All right. Yes.
I make Jana's recipe, so get it from her, and
it's like that. It is.
It's the one time.
But that's a
I
Christmas
really
dish too in our family.
Yes, pie is perfectly acceptable.
The rest of the year, and so that is just like that's our opportunity, and so yeah.
All right, Jana.
Well, I like both of the things that they said because, like Julie says, we kind of exchange recipes on there. But I also like making Yule logs. So it's that rolled Swiss roll, and then you frost the entire thing. So I like making those, and I like making braided breads. So we talked about how I like rolls. Well, with braided bread, you now take that roll recipe, make it slightly sweeter, and then you fill the inside with nuts and cinnamon and brown sugar and stuff that's totally good for you. And you make ropes out of it, and then you can braid them, and you can do other things and make them look really, really fancy. And so I like making really fancy breads that are sweet breads, and then eating those.
You can't go
in
wrong
between bites of the pie and the chocolate. So,
but there's a reason I'm a recovering fatty, so I love bread. Okay. I love pecan pie. I love me a good pumpkin pie, and I know that people think that's for Thanksgiving, but we do that at Christmas as well. And fudge is a good Christmas dessert as well. Jana sends it out to people if she really, really likes you, but it's a lot of families have variations of Christmas fudge. It's kind of a thing for a lot of people. So my grandmother, before she passed, used to make some really good fudge. And then she would do the caramel dip for apple slices.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Where the apple was just the excuse to eat the caramel. I mean, maybe some of the apples actually got consumed, but you were doing a lot of double dipping for the caramel, really. Unofficially, of course, because double dipping is rude, people.
Right. Don't do that.
Don't do that. I'm just saying maybe 8-year-old JR, maybe he did that in a younger life. Did you guys ever do the caramel dip for the apples? Is that a thing? Out
Not at Christmas. I more see that at Halloween time.
Really?
Fall.
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but we do use
have
caramel to dip pretzels.
Yes.
pretzels?
Yeah.
Oh yes.
Yes, you take pretzels and you dip them in caramel, and then you let that dry, and then you dip them in chocolate, and then you put things on top, and it's delicious.
Hey, I've never heard of this. Does it have a name for this thing?
Caramel dip.
Chocolate dip
pretzel.
caramels.
Yeah.
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 Let's
if
call
you
it the
go-
Jana. We'll call it the Jana.
Yes, it's delicious. It's
Okay.
And,
All right.
and my very first really good professionally done caramel apple, the kind where you dip it in the caramel, then you dip it in the chocolate and roll it in the nuts. I did have that for the first time at Christmas time. So
now, what is it that gives it the candied outside that makes it like hard and red? And it's not the caramel; it's something else around it.
no, it's
That's when you put like a lollipop. You use it. It's the same thing as you use to make lollipops.
Okay.
So it's just it's candy. You have caramel apples or chocolate apples, and then you have actually candied apples. And with those, you use the same kind of a mix as you do for lollipops, but you dip them instead of pouring them.
Okay.
I've done that. It's fun. It's messy. It's very, very messy and
All
very
right.
hot.
Just don't blow the kitchen up when you do it, dear listener. With that, I do want to know about this Haunted Yuletide Christmas/Halloween ghost story adventure that we got going on. So we're going to pause for a moment while we shamelessly shill for the man, and then we're going to dive right in.
Ho, ho! Oh, hell. Is that sleigh bells ringing in your ears or a few rounds from an M60? You wanted the jolly fat man to bring Yuletide joy, but the season has gifted you with a heartbreaker and a life taker. Badass Santa. Grab your eggnog and camouflage candy canes. Strap on your bulletproof holiday stockings and prepare for thrills and kills. From blood-stained rebellion at the North Pole to a Black Ops raid on a distant planet, these 18 action-packed tales will show you Saint Nick as you have never seen him before. It's all you'll want for Christmas.
So that cover was our old cover artist who had to get a real job because babies and but he was amazing. We have a new version coming out of the volume 2 of the Christmas anthology along the same lines. Santa is Badass Operator.
I like it.
We had T-Rex Studios doing that cover, and he did a pretty good job of keeping the vibe of that before. So it was a thrill to work with. Hopefully we earned enough to pay because he was expensive, but he's good. So we forgot to ask.
Oh, it's so cool looking.
Yeah, Jana has seen it. She helped us with the typeface. So we did forget to ask before we started the commercial. So we are civilized human beings here at the Blasters Blaze podcast. We are no longer knuckle dragging troglodytes. So coffee or tea, and how do you take it around the Christmas holidays?
I am a hot chocolate girl, particularly brewed chocolate. So Creo Brew is one brand. I've seen others. Sometimes they call it chocolate tea, but it's basically you're brewing cocoa nibs into a hot chocolate drink that you can then doctor with cream and sugar or 2 Splenda, as the case may be.
Okay. Jay?
Herbal tea with honey.
That's not very exciting. You gotta make it up. Be like, oh, and I pour, I don't know, lightning in a bottle in it. And we pour something.
It's with in the skull of my enemies is what I drink it from.
Okay, see, they were getting somewhere with that. I can dig that. You drink it from the skull of your enemies. I get it. And you drink it pinky out because you are civilized.
Oh, of course.
Well, yes.
We're civilized.
Now, your enemies weren't. That's why they're dead, and you're drinking out of their skull, of course.
As far as you know.
I mean, you don't want to speak ill of the dead, but they're, you won, so clearly you're more civilized than them.
Well, since history is written by the victor, then yes.
Might makes right, I'm told, by every victorious army.
Mm-hmm.
And Jana, if her audio isn't messed up, is going to tell you something like, I don't know, weird Diet Dr. Pepper or hot chocolate or...
Yeah. The audio's fine, right? Is it working now?
It is now.
Okay. I don't know what its deal was before. My computer is having issues. It keeps doing weird things. So, no, my daughter reminded me of one of the ones that we like. Nah. But, So we don't drink alcohol, but we do like various sparkling juices. So like Martinelli's has a sparkling apple juice. Welch's does a couple of different kinds of sparkling grape juice. So you can get a white grape juice and you can get a purple grape juice. And they have a rosé and all this, that, and the other, and a sparkling cider. So we do like to get the nice sparkly fruit juices. That's really fun during the holidays and is specifically a thing we do at the holidays because that's when it's most available. And it makes you feel all fancy. Put it in. I do have some really pretty wine glasses and this, that, and the other that I use for that kind of thing because it makes you feel fancy.
That's the kind of stuff you do right around the New Year when you're a kid still too.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
The other drink that I do in the holidays is I make a plum cider, and I take plum juice and heat it up with mulling spices, so cinnamons and allspice and things, and it's really special.
We used to go to this historic farmstead that's was founded in the Tidewater, Virginia area in the 1600s. And it's been closed for the last 15 years. But when I was a kid, we'd go there and they would have that stick where they got the wagon wheel hoop and they'd hit it with a stick to see how long they could keep it going. And really, it's a game invented by parents. But how can I wear them out so they'll go to sleep and leave me alone? Genius parents back then, I'm telling you. And then they would do the mold and the spiced ciders and the whatever the foods. I don't remember what the foods were, candied nuts and stuff, the kind of stuff they would have made back then. And they would have men and women in period clothing, and they're reopening it this year. So I'm going to get to take my boys. I mean, they're older than I was when I went. So hopefully the magic, they're teenagers now. So they might be too cool for school, but I'm going to drag them anyway. So that'll be hopefully some holiday. Because for me, that's why every time I smell hot apple cider, I think fall and Thanksgiving and Christmas season because of all those memories. And so I just wish I liked the way it tasted. So, but for me, I've been drinking a lot of black coffee, drinking it raw for the calories, and mixing in sometimes just a little bit of whole milk and sugar-free syrups. But with that out of the way, we brought you on to talk about your collection of the Haunted Yuletide. I am going to show that. Oh, hold on. Let me see if I can make you see them. They changed how they do the layout, and so.
Yeah, so now he just clicks the buttons and we see what happens.
Oh, I love that. That's even better. Okay, I'll put this down.
So first off, people think haunting, Halloween, Christmas, feel good, and Thanksgiving, giving back. So there's 3 distinct themes for the various holidays that happen in the fall.
Yes.
You don't often see mixing the horror and the Christmassy. So what is the genesis of this collection, if you want to walk us through where the concept came from?
I think Julie is probably best for that one.
Well, it actually is a Victorian Christmas tradition. Before Halloween ever happened, if you think about it, it's the darkest time of the year. And in the Victorian era, you have no TV, no radio, you're sitting around the fire. It's cold outside. You're not traveling and visiting people as often. And when you're all sitting around the fire and it's dark very early, it lends itself toward eventually turning to ghost stories. In fact, Charles Dickens had a magazine that he published every year at this time of the year that was a collection of ghost stories. And not all of them were Christmas ghost stories. And what would happen is people would get this collection and they would read it around the fire during the holiday season. So it is a Christmas tradition. You have the Christmas song, It's the Most Wonderful Time of the Year. If you listen carefully to those lyrics, there's a section that says there'll be scary ghost stories and tales of the glories of Christmases long time ago. So yeah, it belonged to Christmas first. And then Halloween came and everybody got their spooky out of the way. And now they want feel good stories. So.
But they did, Tim Burton did go and mix it up for us with The Nightmare Before Christmas, which has that, Halloween and Christmas together as it should be. So.
And you think The Christmas Carol is one of our best Christmas stories. It is a ghost story.
Yeah, it was one of many. It just seems to be the one that lasted the longest.
Because it combines that feel good and the scary.
Okay. So Jay, so was that so she gave you the idea to do this and then you just sort of organized the collection? Is that how it came about?
Yeah, that was actually the joke was, and I don't think it was really a joke. The one of the editors for my publisher, knew about Julie. Julie has been now, she with her introduction, she did mention she was a tour guide for the Salt Lake City Ghost tours, and she's one of her specializations with oral storytelling is ghost stories. But anyway, she submitted the idea for an anthology, but Julie was not. I mean, you were for a different publisher. She had a book there, also a ghost story, but she wasn't really involved, and so she was trying to figure out how can we get Julie to edit and select a bunch of these really great ones that we think we can have for that whole season of fall and winter if we combine the two. And she says, well, Jay's one of our authors, so let me ask Jay, but really we're getting Julie. And I think that's how it worked out. So we actually had Julie's expertise on the ghost stories and my familiarity with publishing and writing, and to take an editorial hack at it. And
so it really was a team effort, but it was the publisher that suggested it first.
And so that's where was it Beth Buck? I can't remember who
they talked to you first. So I don't know who it was.
Anyway, but so that was part of it, and I joked about it, and they kind of looked at me kind of sheepishly, and they were like, "Yeah, well, kind of." But they got me for my familiarity with publishing, and it was really exciting to me too. Because again, I love this stuff just as much, but we definitely got. Julie was happy to kind of spearhead. Usually she had the I won't say the strongest opinion, because usually we're in pretty well in agreement. There was only a few stories where it was like I liked it significantly more than she did, or vice versa. So we were usually in sync.
It was pretty close.
And because of the limitations, most of the stories that got in there were ones that we both felt pretty strongly in favor of. So that was part of it. There were a few cases where we'd help each other out, because we had a lot of submissions. Not record breaking or anything, but it was a lot to go through, and which we appreciated. And there was a lot of the stories that either she would read or I would read, and we just kind of tell each other, don't bother with this one. It doesn't meet the criteria. It doesn't, the subject matter is incorrect. Immortal Works is known for, kind of keeping things relatively, PG-13 or whatever. And this had stuff that we were not going to be, put our names on. And it was like, why are you submitting this to us? And so anyways, there was a lot of that, but it was, the give and take. But so we really did partner up on it. And she's, we both did the editing passes on them, and it actually collaborated, I thought, really, really well. We'd never done something like that before, and it worked.
And rumor has it there were no retellings of A Christmas Carol allowed.
I nixed that really early on. And
okay.
Go ahead. I
was going to say, we didn't have a hard line on it.
We didn't put it when we did the submission call, we did not say no Christmas carols, which we probably could have, but we didn't.
We probably should have, because it seemed like a quarter of the entries were like either inspired by or retellings of A Christmas Carol. And it was like, oh my gosh, guys, there's more.
Christmas Carol's been done, and we wanted to move on to something else.
Now, there are ones in this one, Misha's story, which occurs on New Year's Eve. It actually, it's there. You vaguely you could note it, but it actually involves the fates. You know, the was it the maid, the matron, and the crone. You know, so and that was where you kind of got the different little eras of or New Year's future or something like that. But that was, you almost have to stretch to really call that a Christmas Carol derived one. I mean, maybe that was his inspiration for it, but if you guys know Misha's stuff, he does really great stuff regardless.
Well, there's a difference between being inspired by and paying homage to something, and then like trying to mirror the storytelling beats and just doing it a little differently.
Yeah, there was one that was Christmas Carol related, and I won't go into details on it, but it actually it held on there for a long time up until the final cut, and it was hard turning that one down. And so, but yeah, it's one of the things when you edit an anthology, if you have, it's like, oh, I want to do a monster book, a whole bunch of different kinds of monsters, and you get half of them are zombie stories. Well, only one of those zombie stories is going to make it in, or maybe two, and you have to cut the others, not because they're bad stories, just because it's like, this is not a zombie book.
Or what I would do is put all the zombie ones together, call it a zombie book, and get 2 anthologies out of it. But that's why my mother hates me sometimes.
I don't think we could.
Yes, well, you have to have enough.
Christmas Carol.
Yeah, and this was working through our publisher, and we didn't, have necessarily the approval yet. I mean, we probably could have pushed and seen if we could do that, but anyway, no, it was, so it was, we stuck with the ones, and I think the collection that we got were pretty much our favorites of the entire batch. So
speaking of, you mentioned the publisher is known for certain things. So we always ask, because we do have some families that listen, and one of the things they screen for is what's appropriate for their kids. Because we've got plenty of precocious readers who are academically capable of reading things that they might not be emotionally ready for. So what would you tell those parents about this collection?
For the most part, if they can read it themselves, they're probably good to go. I would say it's PG-13, PG-13 for most of it, or for all of it. So they might, there are some 4-letter words in there, minus, nothing super offensive, but the special category of 4-letter words. But there are some, but it really doesn't have any gore or anything if that would really be that offensive, I don't think.
I'm a 6th grade teacher as well as an expert in ghost stories, and one of the things that I pay very close attention to is scare levels. And this is meant for, as early as a teen audience, so 13 and up, but I would say it's safe for 10 and up.
Yeah, there's only a couple of them that are, well, okay. No, there's a few that are creepy, but there's like 2 of them that are. I love the variety of this book, because we have comedy, we have action, we have, and we have a few that are genuinely freak out creepy, and there's 2 of them that, including the first book, first story in there, that are pretty dang creepy. And yes, if you told it to an 8-year-old, might be a bit much for them to handle.
So know your kid, because mine's a chicken butt when it comes to spooky. So yeah. she can skip around and read the humorous ones, and the ones that are too creepy for the chicken, well, maybe not.
Yeah, definitely parental guidance is recommended. But we've got some, you don't think that you'd have it, but again, Christmas Carol is a case in point. We've got some that are just genuinely heartwarming, and so and make you think. So it's a good mix, and most of them I think are all of them I think are appropriate for 12 or 13 and up, and most of them are probably good for 10 or 11, and a couple of them maybe younger than that.
Okay. Now, is that by design as far as your selection criteria?
Yes,
Yeah,
I think so. We wanted a not. I teach school, so I would like it if my students could feel comfortable reading what we did. But yeah, I wanted a at least teen and up.
Okay.
yeah. And the fact that the publisher kind of had that was kind of their thing too, and that kind of made it easy. In fact, one of the stories and that we received, and I don't know, I think I'll go ahead and embarrass him, Misha again, because he's a professional, and he had a bit that was a little much in his story, and I came back to him and was just like, hey, and I double checked with our editor in chief, and I was like, yeah, this is not something that you'd feel comfortable publishing. And she's like, oh no. And I'm like, okay, just I was looking for, I really didn't need any. I mentioned it to Misha, and he was great. He was like, let me get back to you in the next 24 hours. And he came back, and he was like, I think 6 hours later, he's like, yeah, I thought about it, and I think we have a good idea of the character's emotional state at that point and everything. And so that part, you can just take that on out. He's like, I think it's just as strong a story, maybe stronger without it. And that's an advantage to working with good professional authors.
I've had to do that myself. It's sometimes frustrating when you didn't know in advance, but there have been times when I have been told to make my Space Marines cuss less like Space Marines because some of the people that would be reading the collection might not be crusty 40-year-old dudes. So I sympathize with your friend Misha. But you do what you got to do when you're professional, because in the end, right? Like, your job is to entertain, and sometimes you got to alter that when you're in different company. Unless
you want to limit your audience to just 40-year-old Marines.
Well, and because of what we did, one of our biggest fans of this book, she every year takes it to their family cabin and reads it to her family. So I like to think that, yes, this is a family book, at least if you've got older kids.
Okay, so speaking of that, one of the complaints people have with Amazon specifically when they do the print on demand is the quality of the paperback doesn't lend itself to multiple readings. Having worked in document preservation, I understand that's a valid complaint. That's why libraries tend not to buy the Amazon copy. They want the Ingram Sparks because they need to get X number of reads out of it before they have to recycle it. They don't throw them away. So this is wide. Are there options that are either hardback or better quality than the print on demand that allows for the multiple reading for people that want to do that or want to gift it?
I think it's just the paperback, but it is Ingram Sparks.
Cool. Okay. So, dear listener, if you want the Dead Tree edition and you care about quality, you're not stuck with the base model, as it were. You're getting a Cadillac with this one. Wait, is a Cadillac still a good car? I don't know. I'm behind the times.
Generally speaking,
okay.
Yeah.
So how long is this collection? So if people were looking like, is it, is it like, I haven't had a chance to look at it yet. So are we talking like 10, 12 stories, 100,000 words? What is we looking at with this?
About that. I think it's like 80, 90,000 words, and I think 15 stories.
Okay.
And again, this runs the gamut from humor to heartwarming to freak out scary to so some great variety in there. It'll keep you, unless you're looking for just one particular mood. It covers that whole territory. But yeah, I say now in retrospect it's a quick read, but boy, we read those stories so many times
over and over and over and over.
So it's available in ebook, it's available in print. Is it got a hardback version?
There is no hardback version.
Audiobook yet or no?
No.
Okay.
Sadly.
Well, I mean, when you go through small presses, sometimes that's just the way you make money in audiobooks sometimes is quantity as they are in number, and it's just harder for the smaller guys to make inroads there. So totally understand. there are adaptive, dear listener, there is adaptive technology out there. If for whatever reason you need to be read the story for reasons, there is adaptive technology out there for those peoples. And if it's something you're interested in, I know people that use it. Just send me a message. My links are all over, and I'll hook you up with what that is, because I appreciate people that need the audio for that reason. And if there are no audiobooks available, there are options.
And if you're like my family when I was younger, and you're on the road on Christmas Day for 2 to 4 hours to and from relatives, it's great to listen to an audiobook to keep you interested during the journey.
I remember when we used to stop at the Cracker Barrel and we'd check out the audiobook first on tape and then on CD. And then you'd return it almost like a library to get you'd pay full price for the audiobook. And then when you return it, you get all of it back plus whatever, minus whatever the handling fee is. So they encourage you to give it back at the next stop. And I listened to a lot.
And to come back to the next stop and eat.
Yes, we listened to a lot of Tom Clancy. And
I did not know that.
I didn't know that either.
When I was traveling to colleges and to and from school and on vacations up and down the East Coast, I used to do that all the time. So, do you have a favorite collection? Do you have a favorite story in this collection?
I do, yes. The very first story is called Don't Disturb the Carolers. And it's the scariest one. And it's quite the good ghost story. And when I read that one, I told Jay straight up, I said, this has to be first, because I want a really scary story to be the very first one. And I got my wish. I got permission from our publisher to do an actual live storytelling of it for the Story Crossroads Storytelling Festival. I was filming in April in the snow in a cemetery, telling this story with the cold soaking through my boots, because I had to tell it a couple of times to get all the shots. And that video's out there somewhere. If I get permission, I'll make sure I share it here. But it is my favorite and gives me the shivers every time.
Oh, okay. Well, this is also like the favorite child question. Because
everyone hasn't annoyed you recently.
Yeah. I mean, again, the first one, Don't Disturb the Carolers, is fantastic. I loved Misha's twist on things. There's the final one in there is fantastic. It's another New Year's. We tried to cover several different holidays in there, and it's a great coda for the whole thing. It's another one that's kind of bittersweet in the ending. Sarah Seeley's story. Yeah, I mean, I say I love them all so much. But that one was one that just was, that one was another one that, I read that and I'm just like, oh my gosh, it's a beautiful story. And yes, ghost stories can be beautiful. Also, bittersweet, and dealing with, some, modern day, hot button issues, but she just did a fantastic job. Anyway, it's tough. And then, Lambert's story about the snowmen attacking, and it's just a wild ride. So anyway, wow, I might just default to no, I'm not. I'm going to cheese out. I'm wimping out right here. There's so many good ones. It's kind of hard as I'm going through the list in my head. I'm like, oh yeah, that one's my favorite. No, maybe not. So.
Seriously, if you look at, when you start breaking down the stories, it's like, oh yeah, I love that one. Oh, I love that one too. And
yeah. So anyway,
so Jana, since you're involved, do you have a favorite?
Nope.
Short, succinct, and to the point. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't, because I haven't read all of them. I have read pieces of them, because some of the people that eventually ended up sending them stories had me do pre-reads for them. So I had beta read several of these before they went into the book, and I own the book, but have I read it? No, because I'm a bad friend. But that's not true either. But I just haven't got around to it. So I do not have a favorite, though I did like Mark Minson's. That was one of my favorite to beta read. That was another fun and kind of creepy
humorous and creepy
ghost story. Yeah, and that was what I liked about his, was that it was the humor and the creepy all at the same time. And just as it starts getting creepy enough that you're like, oh, this is really creepy, then he would put in something that pulled it back. So he's really, really quite good at that. So that was my favorite of the ones that I beta read.
One that I think is kind of special is that one of the authors, it was her very first published story, and she was a girl who was friends with my daughter in high school, and she wrote one that was very poetic and rhymed and had a lot of it's really beautiful that way. So it's her very first story in there, Lauren Beck. So
yeah, and then Jody's Jody was one we know her, and this was kind of her effort to get back into writing, and I had no idea she had that much darkness in her, because she tells one about the Christmas tree topper, and no, that is not a Christmas angel, that is something else, and oh yeah, it's dark and creepy, and it's just fantastic.
That is the danger when other people that you actually know in real life read your stuff, because one of the times I walked into my shrink's appointment at the VA, and he's got my books in front of me, and I'm like, oh God, I'm going to end up in a straitjacket. So I feel your pain when you talk about like you're reading other people's. It's horror is one of those ones where you definitely, if you're writing that, you definitely don't want your shrink to read that one.
Well, well, going back, Sarah Seeley, and we know her, and she's this very, very cute girl who's, you think she's just, all smiles and everything. And I think her preferred genre is horror. And her story for us was actually not, I mean, it had some fairly horrific events, trauma. It's really a story about family trauma, but it's also kind of the one with kind of a bittersweet ending and everything. She's genius at it. But yeah, you don't think that, I mean, she comes into a room and she's just, fun and perky and everything. And it's like, boy, she's got a dark side, doesn't she? And yeah, especially for horror writers, I think that's the one that surprises, having met several of them at various events.
Sometimes
go ahead.
Sometimes when you meet the people that write the darkest stuff and you look at them, I'm like, you look like someone's grandma who should be knitting something, not writing like Lovecraft's evil stepsister, right? Like, what happened?
Maybe they just get all their darkness out on the page, and there's so that's their purge, and so then they're nothing but light after that. I don't know.
As much as I love the spooky, as much as I love the spooky, I'm really not a dark, depressing person, and that's just one aspect of my personality.
So you two collectively edited this anthology. So now that you have done that, have you gotten the bug? Do you want to do more Haunted Yuletide inspired or similarly inspired horror-esque anthologies on your own? Because I know, Jay, you write your own stuff. You have your own imprint. Are you gonna start cranking out these steampunk horror anthologies or something crazy? Lit RPG horror? I don't know.
If you'd asked me right after we finished this book, I would have said, nope, I don't think so. But, maybe it's like, pregnancy after a little bit of time has gone by. I don't know.
How would you know?
Yeah. Maybe it wasn't that bad. Let's do this again. Anyway, no, it was, I mean, it was a good experience. It really was. I enjoyed it. And, I enjoyed much of it. Definitely not all of it. And, yeah, I would not be opposed to that. I just have to clear my current plate a little bit before I get back into it. But no, the opportunity to work on the other side of this, after being a writer and looking at it from that perspective, being able to work on the editing side is a lot of fun. It's frustrating. It's a lot more work than I thought it would be going into it. That part surprised me. But yeah, in the end, I mean, the best thing for me is when I point to the book and I say, hey, this is like the best anthology in the whole world. And the reason why is because I got to pick all the stories in it. And,
so humble, so modest.
Well, it's the best one for me.
Yeah. We picked the stories. We like them all.
So, yes, I'm sure if I do another anthology I would definitely say that that's likely, whether it's, another Haunted Yuletide or, similar book or, another anthology of, steampunk Christmas or something like that, or whatever. I do enjoy that process, I definitely would expect to be doing that again in the future, and hopefully I'll be better at it next time around. And each book will probably be my favorite anthology when I'm done. That's just how it works. Best one in the world is whatever I worked on last.
Okay.
I never thought I'd do an anthology. I was really surprised when they asked me. I am a performer and I don't really see myself as an author, much less an editor. Most of my editing involves trying to get sixth graders to put together a good paragraph, and that's it. However, doing it was fun, and we figured out a system that we worked really well together. And who knows what the future holds? Maybe not in the middle of the school year, because boy, I'm tired.
But at least when you're working with the sixth graders, you do have the get out of jail free card you can call their moms. With authors, that generally doesn't always work as well.
Well, I don't know. There's some parents that are really hard to work with too.
I was gonna say, so JR, tell me more about your anthologies.
We know who's in charge.
Okay, all right, we're gonna move on before I stick my foot in my mouth.
And Jay was never invited back.
Is there anything about the Haunted Yuletide anthology that we didn't talk about you think we really ought to highlight before we wrap this puppy up?
One of the things, for me, the first story of an anthology is very important, but the last story of the anthology is important too. And Jay mentioned that it was set at New Year's. In fact, the end of the story hits at the stroke of midnight, New Year's Eve. So what a perfect way to end a book about haunted Christmas, right? The season's over right at the very last bell toll and the last shiver.
Well, and we also were kind of deliberate about keeping it, Haunted Yuletide or whatever. We wanted it to be about the holiday season, not just Christmas, because we were like, hey, if you've got a great Hanukkah story or New Year's, anything from that season, please,
We do not have a Hanukkah story, but we do have the solstice and.
Well, Lambert's story does have the dreidel grenades.
That's true. That's
so,
true.
I would say, yes, we did that to make sure we were multicultural, but that wasn't true. It was really just because it was a fun story.
Yeah.
And the idea of them, tossing dreidel grenades was just, that was just hilarious to me. So, and it's a fun, crazy short story.
Okay. Well, this is the part then, dear listener, where I remind you to please be kind and speak your mind on the reviewing platforms. Your reviews help the right readers find the right books. So do your part. It really does make a difference, especially with smaller presses and indie authors. It really does help push the needle for them. So do your part. It really does make a difference. With that, because ladies first, Julie, how might we find you on the wild, wild interwebs? And as usual, links will be in the show notes.
I do have a website, www.talesbyjulie.com, where I talk about storytelling. It's in dire need of an update, but it's there. I'm on Facebook as well, and I'm also involved with the Crossroads Storytelling Festival. You can find actually samples of some of my stories there. We have a storytelling college where you can learn about storytelling. I'm the one telling the ghost stories.
All right. And Jay, where might we find you on the wild interwebs?
Probably the best place is jbarnson.com.
Creative. I like it.
I know it's, but anyway, it often is in need of updating as well. But there's sign up for newsletter and you can get a free book out of it. And anyway, so there's that. And of course, I'm at the usual social media haunts. I'm the Rampant Coyote on X, so you can find me there, and that's an easy way to bug me.
Yes, but you need to tell them the really cool version of the name of the book that they get.
Oh, yes. Okay. I think I mentioned the last time. Yes, it's based on the Vanish series. It's which is a series involving it's a portal fantasy where lots of people from our world who have mysteriously disappeared, reappear in another fantasy world, and I decided a lot of famous missing persons have gone to this place. And so anyway, the book is entitled Heart of the Sky, which kind of fits my the pattern, but I really wanted to call it Amelia Earhart versus the Cannibals and Dinosaurs. And that's what it's about.
Yes, and it's fantastic.
And dear listener, is because we're recording these out of order, you will have been able to listen to the episode about the Vanished series before this episode airs. Because obviously we pre-record the holiday stuff because, people want to spend time with their families and pretend they like them. So we bank these episodes in advance.
And holiday food.
And make holiday fudge to ship out to all their friends with recipe cards that will not disappear in the fade in the ink like we discussed earlier. But okay, so Jana, if people want to stalk you, eventually I will add you to our link tree. It will happen, but it won't be today. It'll be Sunday, but not today. The season 6 thing we do. But so until that day happens, if people wanted to follow you on the internet,
then they can find me at linktr.ee/Opal Kingdom Press, or you can go straight to www.opalkingdompress.com. That is where myself and my multiple personalities hang out. It's also where you can find open calls for my anthologies. The next one will be starting in January. And otherwise, you can find me at these pen names all over the internet. I am the loser at Internet Hide and Go Seek. So if you go looking for my pen names, you will find me because I have a terrible time hiding.
Were you better at hide and go seek in person, at least?
Oh, yes. I'm very, very sneaky.
Sneaky snook. Okay. All right, dear listener, you can find us on our Linktree, linktr.ee, Linktree/Blasters and Blades Podcast. Again, Linktree/Blasters and Blades Podcast, where we link to all the things, the BitChute, the Rumble, the YouTube, the TikTok, the Twitters. We've got our Spotify, our Discord, our Blasters and Blades Facebook group and Facebook page. We've got our email, blastersandbladespodcast@gmail.com. Again, blastersandbladespodcast@gmail.com. For professional purposes only, people save the shenanigans from Stabby Stab over there on the Instagram, Twitter, and the email. You can support the show by going to buymeacoffee.com/author J.R. Handley. Again, buymeacoffee.com/author J.R. Handley. J.R. Handley. Ooh, I mumbled that up real good. If you put in the comment section that is for the podcast, I promise I will keep my co-hosts duly caffeinated. They will drink that coffee brand coffee till their hair turns brown and they get high on their own supply. They will be snorting that coffee or hot chocolate until they're running around like Wile E. Coyote, people. And then we'll get them more because, you're donating to the cause. These episodes, seriously, all jokes aside, these episodes are not free to produce. And so every penny helps, and we greatly appreciate your patronage. If you want some of that coffee brand coffee, the links are in the show notes. The discount code is Podcast Grunts. You get 10% off. We get a little bit of a kickback. It's a win-win, people. And with that, I'd like to thank you for spending some of your precious time with us. For my crazy co-host, I am J.R. Handley, and this was the Blasters and Blades Podcast. We'll be back next week at the same time where we'll indulge our love of nerd culture cheesy jokes, and all things that go boom. Thank you for coming on, Jay, Julie. Jana, thank you for pitching in. I know you were on vacation doing all kinds of vacation-y things, burning the world down.
I was. When was I on vacation? I'm not on vacation. I'm
You're
just
on
working.
vacation? You didn't tell me. Oh.
Doing important cool people stuff that I'm not cool enough for. I don't know.
I'm not on vacation. I'm at home doing the author and the mom thing. I don't get to go anyplace cool.
Me. Okay, so you were just avoiding me.
You know, it's one of those
I'm tracking.
No, I answered all of your questions today. I answered all of them. All right, hit the button, Frank.
With that.